my phone on silent. All right, we will call the Center County Commissioners Tuesday, August 22nd meeting to order at 10 o'clock. All those who are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any public comment for items that are not appearing on today's agenda? Don't see any. Looks like we can move forward then. Do we have?
Before we go, I'd just like to say thank you to all the folks in county government, particularly Natalie and all the folks that helped us out yesterday with the ice cream social at the Grange Fair. It was a tradition that has gone on for decades and is it was reinvigorated yesterday by the county, and I think it was well received. So I want to say thank you to everyone who helped out. And we really supported, had a lot of support from Dairy and Grange Royalties.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, very.
What was it, 34 minutes?
35 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quick.
1,000 cups of ice cream out
Yeah.
into the crowd. So the Grange Fair is alive and well. Come visit Center County Grange. So
Yes. And visit the county tent and
Yeah,
all
with
the
that,
different
yeah.
county booths too. Thanks for the county staff staffing the county tent.
Yep.
All right. Any additions to the agenda by the commissioner? No? All right. We'll move on to the meeting minutes. Any alterations or changes to those minutes? Looks like we'll take a motion then.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meetings held August 15th, 2023.
second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the meetings held on August 15th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to contracts. Lee has a couple of capital projects for us.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, all. We're seeking approval for two capital projects today. First one is to add some cameras to the Bellefonte MDJ office. We have some blind spots, some failed cameras we're going to replace and whatnot. So these are both with walk-in security. The first one for the cameras will be at a cost of $10,575. The second to consider for approval is to add access control improvements to the courthouse basement. This will add a mag lock and a card reader to secure that from public access. I should note that the first item, $10,575 for the cameras, is eligible for reimbursement from the AOPC. So,
Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion? Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm good.
All right, we'll take a motion then.
All right, I will move to approve capital projects 1 and 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the two capital project items. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Lee.
thank you.
We'll move on to, says here, Scott and Judy from the, there you are. Okay. From the coroner's office.
Okay, I'm here to request renewal of the Department of Health violent death reporting system. We did have a grant last year for $10,000. We did not put this on the budget for this year because they did not think that we would be getting it. So it is for $8,000, and it is for us releasing autopsy reports and toxicology to them. It was not on our budget, like I said, because we didn't know we were getting it.
Well, that's great.
Yes, it is.
Thanks for doing the extra work and helping the state keep track of that information, and we get a little reimbursement for it.
Yes. So,
Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion?
So this pays for the program that allows us to easily provide that data back to the state then?
yes.
Okay.
Well, it's not a program.
Oh, okay.
It's statistics that we have. that I have to go through and get it
Oh,
for
I
them.
see. Okay.
So this is one of the few cases where the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania reimburses us for all of our extra effort.
We use it in our department.
Um,
We've upgraded our department by buying new furniture. We use it towards electronics for our deputies. We try to keep it in our budget and then request it as budget items that help in our department to do our field work, cameras, pagers, things of that nature, radios. And as all other departments, our Motorola radios for us old people that have always been here, they're going extinct. They're not being able to be worked on anymore at all. So we have radios that'll be outdating, or if they go down, won't be able to be fixed. So it's just like with the sheriff's department, it went to the Kenwoods, and EMA is looking at Kenwoods. We did go to some Kenwoods as we hired new deputies, but our old radios are with our longtime deputies, and they'll eventually won't exist anymore, so.
They're unable to be repaired, so when they die, they're done.
You could sign Judy and I off too. So,
Okay. Any other questions?
So this helps offset some of that cost then?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. So I will move to add the grant agreement with the Pennsylvania Violent Death Reporting System to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adding the grant agreement with the Pennsylvania Violent Death Reporting System to next week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, the next one, which I hope is the news item of the day from the Commissioners' meeting, is a large grant to the Phillipsburg Revitalization Corporation. And we have Eric Kelmanson here, and you brought a friend, too.
Brought a friend as well. Good morning. I'm Eric Kelmanson on behalf of the Phillipsburg Revitalization Corporation. I guess first I'll apologize. In Phillipsburg's revitalization efforts, there are two Erics. There's Eric number 1 and Eric number 2. Today, you're stuck with Eric number 2.
All right.
But, so, I'll give you a little bit of the backstory. A few years ago, a bunch of slightly naive but staunchly committed community members got together, and we scratched our heads and we asked the question, what can we do that will have the greatest impact in this community? And there was a lot to choose from. At first, we were somewhat paralyzed by choice. But we looked around and we identified a common thread, which was a great number of sort of derelict and dilapidated property within Phillipsburg. Blight is, it's not just an eyesore, although that's problematic in and of itself. It's also, a real cancer on a community that propagates a vicious cycle. But just as, disrepair and neglect begets more disrepair and neglect, repair and revitalization begets more repair and revitalization. So the PRC, we decided to buy, it was actually 2 buildings. It was one sale, but 2 separately deeded buildings, with the idea of fixing them up, providing the organization with a financial anchor so that we'd be in a position to hire an executive director, because saving a town is a full-time job. Also, we wanted to create a space that would allow for really human flourishing. So there's an affordable housing component, which both the community and the county need. That's our perspective, at least. As well as a business incubator and a community arts center that Adrian will be talking about in a second. But our idea as an organization is that in order to generate community revitalization and economic development, we're sort of focusing on entrepreneurship, small business ownership, and the arts. So we've already taken a number of steps in this direction. We've obtained 2 affordable housing grants, a DCED blight remediation grant, as well as a USDA grant, all, for, all going towards the renovation and repair of these properties. We've come a long way over the last few years. We need a little bit of a push to get us sort of up over the hill. We're asking for $100,000, primarily to complete one of the apartments as well as the Community Arts Center. I guess I'll also say we recognize the county's support so far, and we are very appreciative of everything. I guess specifically the commissioners have done so far to help us. So thank you for that. But yeah, I think that's about it. Adrian, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, so my partner Lynn Ann and I had been trying to find spaces to make art in. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's hard to do in State College. It's very expensive. And as a history major, one of my focuses has been like, I am partial, or I understand these small communities that have been left behind and have been, kind of like Eric was talking about with the blight problems. And it's good for my artwork, but it's not very good for people who live there. And as an artist, both Lynn Ann and I feel very strongly that having a space for people to be creative and to meet and to be able to stop in and express themselves and gather together in a safe space is really important, and that's what we're hoping to do. So the front of the space that what we mapped out would be sort of a cafe, community center, and then the two back spaces are going to be clay studio and a print studio. That's the goal, and we're working hard to try to make that happen. But it's hard to do without a space. So that's what we, that's our goal.
I'll just add that the funds are using just to renovate the shell of the space itself, and then you guys will be moving in to do all the arts.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes, that's the plan, is that Lynn Ann and I are going to be running the space and making classes happen. And we got a lot of buzz originally when we were talking about it. I know that, I could pull up lots of numbers about how artists moving into communities tend to make things happen. And I think you guys are aware of all that. So that's what we're hoping to do, and that's why partnering with the PRC has been critical for us. We're bringing ourselves to this. We don't have a lot of backing. We're working on that. Like, we're building our numbers, and we're trying to go out and approach people so that we can really make it happen. And we feel very strongly about it. So thank you very much. I appreciate you.
I know Commissioner Concepcion's been doing a lot in Phillipsburg over the last 8 months. I'll hand it over to you for some comments.
Yeah, so I really have had a chance to get into that building a couple times now. It's good to see progress is happening there, and hopefully this will help that project get closer to completion. Having that business incubator space, I think, is going to be really critical to being able to have that support space for the small businesses in Phillipsburg. And, I can see this it will sort of be like a home base, it seems like, for the PRC for its work. I've been also involved with the Steering Committee for Strategic Planning. I think it's worth noting that the PRC is working with the Pennsylvania Downtown Center on a strategic plan for the Phillipsburg Borough. So there's going to be a process over the next few months of community engagement around creating that strategic plan. And this will be, one piece of, greater revitalization efforts throughout the area. And I agree that, if you once you start getting that train moving with revitalization, it can be, get some momentum that'll attract more people who are interested in restoring those historic buildings and preserving them. So, yeah.
Do you have a projected cost of what it's going to take to restore the buildings? Do you have maybe a budget for that?
I do. So I can send it over to you. If that's off the top of my head, we're probably it's probably right around $100,000 to get it done. Maybe a little bit more. We have a line of credit in addition to the grant money that we've secured through CNB. So we're projecting it to be right around $100,000. If it's a little bit more, which it could be, with it's all prevailing wage work. We have a line of credit to make sure that we can
Close that gap then? Okay.
I believe you've already invested several hundred thousand in it, one
Yeah,
way or
correct.
another.
Right.
Commissioner Dershowitz, any more comments?
No, that was my question.
I just want to stress that the arts are very important to developing place for communities, but also for economic revitalization. We've seen great things in State College with the Makery and the Rivet. And over the last 8 years, the county commissioners have partnered with many citizens in Bellefonte. And we've been a vital part of the revitalization of Bellefonte with the Bellefonte Art Museum, all of the entrepreneurs, the retail. And now we're starting to get some traction up in Phillipsburg. I think it's going to be a local Phillipsburg flavor. I think we're going to end up somewhere different than we have in Bellefonte, but I think it's still going to be a great place. And, for many, many years, Phillipsburg was a very, very vibrant community. And it's great to see it start to come back. I think Commissioner Concepcion told me housing prices in Phillipsburg are up like 14% over the last year. And we've got a lot going on there. And Commissioner Concepcion and I were just up there yesterday. So really, really enjoying seeing what's happening in Phillipsburg. And any questions from the press? No? All right. Anything else from the commissioners? No? All right, we'll take a motion then.
Okay, I will move to approve the American Rescue Plan Grant Agreement with Phillipsburg Revitalization Corporation.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the grant for the Phillipsburg Revitalization Corporation do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Well, thanks, Eric, and thanks, Adrienne, for coming. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
Now we'll move on to a grant for the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority, which is actually not part of county government, even though we do work closely with them. And we've got
I'm Mimi Cooper.
here.
I'm the
It
assistant.
seems like a car name.
It is.
Technically, I want to
Yeah.
I want to correct
All
them.
right.
They are a part of county government. We do they are a county authority.
Right.
And we do the appointment of their board. So they are
All right.
they are a
Separate budget,
yes,
though.
They're separate
Separate
budget, but they are an element of county government that we create.
All right.
All right, just to
Okay.
clarify that.
All right.
Again, I'm Mimi Cooper. I'm the Assistant Recycling Coordinator at CCRA, and I'm sorry Joanne couldn't be here this morning. What we would like is for you to approve the limited assignment for certain grants. What we have had since 1988 has been a delegation agreement with the county, and these grants get paid directly to the county traditionally, and then it's a pass-through agreement that we've had, and you then pass the funds on to us since we perform these duties. As DEP is moving into everything electronic, it's now an e-grant system. This just cuts out the paper check coming to the county and then us coming down. Not that we don't like to come down and see Ray and pick up our check, we do, but this will just make the process a little bit easier. So it's really just a formalization of the payment method. So,
Great. Any
and these grants are, I'm sorry, it's the 901 A and B. The 901A is for planning, and we did use two of those grants in the last year as we did our long-range strategic plan and our county disposal plan for the next 10 years. And the other one is the 903 grant, and that is for county coordinators' wages, benefits, and expenses. So, any questions on those?
Yeah. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions? Commissioner Dershowitz?
No, you guys have been very innovative in so many different areas, particularly in recycling and making sure that the needs of our communities are all met. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that. And to that end, I'm going to give a shameless plug because we do have two events coming up, and one is new. Traditionally in the spring, we always have our household hazardous waste event, which we collect all sorts of pesticides, chemicals, and everything. This year, we are also, because tires fall under our household hazardous waste reimbursement ability from DEP, we're going to have a tire collection event. And that is going to be Saturday, September 16th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Registration online for any county resident can bring up to 12 tires. And we also are going to help host at our facility October 7th a shredding event for Representative Tackett. We did that for Benninghoff in the spring, so we really like to partner and get everyone out to see their representatives. So
Do they still shred the tires and turn them into mulch? Is that?
We do. We have our tire recycler is Mahantango. It's down in Mahantango, in Liverpool, PA, and they do shred them into crumb rubber, making, for, fields and playgrounds and that sort of thing. So they are fully recycled. Okay?
Well, I know you're one of the best regarded recycling and refuse authorities in the nation, and I believe the citizens of Center County are one of the very few in the whole nation that actually sort the recycling right in the bins.
We do. We made the decision to stick with curb sort because we have a very clean product. Most of it can stay, if not in Pennsylvania, it does stay in this country. So it's very much a full circle economy that we're trying to promote rather than everybody wish cycling, throwing it into a single stream bin, and then not most of it, a large portion of it discarded because it's not recyclable in the end. So.
There's one more shout out for you.
Boy, Joanne should have been here.
That I've always been very proud of. There's many areas, many counties that don't recycle glass. And your relationship with several glass firms has made Center County available to do that. And that keeps a lot of tonnage out of the landfills.
It does, and we are actually, on our 904 performance grant, that tonnage, we are able to reclaim some of that money back in our performance grant. So, no, we're very happy with that, and it does stay in Pennsylvania, bottle to bottle. Oops, as I drop everything, so.
It's a long story, but I have 2 tires in my basement, and I'm going to be one of your first customers for the tires.
I will see you there, I'll be at the check-in.
Oh, all right, very good, very good. Anything else? No, I think we can take a motion, huh?
Thank you.
Okay, I'll move to approve the limited assignment agreement for the grants with Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the limited assignment agreement with the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks. All right, now we'll move on to Human Services. I think Julia's up first.
Good morning. I'm here to request approval of a memorandum of understanding with Sinclair Child Services Incorporated. The MOU outlines procedures for screening and referrals, evaluations, individualized family service plans, and transition plans. There's no cost for this agreement. It's a routine agreement. I think many of our human service agencies has asked for this same MOU with Sinclair.
Great, well, we very much appreciate our partnership with Sinclair. Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion?
No, I don't think so.
Commissioner Dershowitz? All right, take a motion then.
I will move to add the memorandum of understanding with Sinclair Child Services, Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the MOU with Sinclair Child Services to the consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Julia. There's Chris. You've got an MOU and a land development plan. We've been seeing a lot of those recently.
We have, yes. Thank you and good morning. We have a memorandum of understanding on today's agenda, and just a real quick reminder, our memorandums of understanding are a little bit different than the typical ones, but just as a reminder, this is a 3-party agreement between the developer, the township, and the county, and it's whereby the developer will agree to reimburse, in this case, Potter Township's engineers' costs associated with the township's engineers processing, reviewing, inspecting, and approving the engineering details of the plans. It's the board's not approving the plan itself, it's just approving the agreement between those 3 parties for reimbursement costs. The memorandum of understanding, or MOU for short, that's being presented today is for the final land development for Land Pro equipment. The proposal constitutes a final plan submission, and it shows a 19,443 square foot commercial sales and equipment repair building, as well as a 7,500 square foot accessory pole building, along with stormwater, access roads, and parking. And if you draw your attention up on the screen, the property is about 9.5 acres in Potter Township, and it borders on the north by State Route 322, and if you're heading to the left or to the west, you're heading toward Bowlesburg and State College, and to the right or to the east, you're going toward the brand-new highway that went through the mountain. And this is Summer Lane, and it goes back to the former Shaner Baseball Complex, which is now owned by Potter Township, and the site that's being developed is outlined in white. The plan was prepared by Century Engineering of Center Hall, And the plan shows the proposed Land Pro equipment building along with the storage building and the associated parking and access roads. And they're also going to have an outdoor display area right along 322. A question you may have is the Land Pro equipment already has an existing building over on State Route 45, very near the Grange entrance, and that business, they are actually relocating from the Center Hall, State Route 45, to the facility here along 322. And that's the MOU that's being presented today.
I'll eventually have a question, but Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
I don't have, other than, it seems like this will be a good addition to that section of the 322 where there's multiple businesses that are, related to either home design, development, repairs. There's quite a few similar, businesses that are
Yes.
along those lines, so, yeah.
Commissioner Gershon?
I had a very pleasant exchange with one of the employees of Land Pro yesterday at the Grange Fair, and he helped me get a bale of hay.
Oh.
And I did not know this was on the agenda when I saw that, and so great company from what I can see, and very helpful people, and I'm really happy that they are relocating in a new area and having more opportunity. So be happy to help them out any way I can, the way they did me. So.
Hey, Chris, great to see they're expanding and staying in the county. I'm just a little concerned on the location. That is the section of 322 that's going to eventually turn into an interstate, right?
The part that's going to be turned, one of the routes is actually going to be located, I believe, further south of the property. I believe it's going to go maybe just to the south of the Shaner Complex building, or complex area. It's not going to affect this property that's being developed. It's further south.
All right. Just wondering about that, because it's right there on the current highway.
Right.
All right. Great. Well, unless there's any questions from the press, no? I take a motion then.
Okay, then I'll move to add a memorandum of understanding for the final land development plan for the Land Pro equipment project to next week's consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second to add the memorandum of understanding to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Now also from planning, we have Kochi. Actually, I think we're going to have Kochi several times.
Yes, yeah, I actually have 3 items for you this morning.
right.
So, 2 that'll need your action and 1 that's just an information. The first one is Larson Design Group is requesting a 12-month extension for the agreement of, it's listed as L00529. This is Part 3 for the 2018 bridge rehabs. This is for final design, review, construction consultation, and structure design review. The extension is actually moving it from October 5th of 2023 to October 5th of 2024. The 2018 bridge rehabs are scheduled to be completed on June 17th of 2024. This will allow to finalize the multimodal grant and finish any documentation that we have to have. We're just asking that the commissioners approve that 12-month extension for Larson.
Great.
And there will be a letter that needs to be signed later on once the approval is given.
All right. Any questions from the commission? All right.
I'll move to approve the contract extension with Larson Design Group.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the contract extension with Larson Design Group do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, now we're moving into liquid fuels and
Yes.
fee for local use, and that's right back to Kochi.
Yes, actually, it's that time of year. We're asking you to authorize the solicitation of fee for local use and liquid fuels programs. There are letters that have been drafted to be sent out to the municipalities to ask them to start submitting their applications for this year, in which the commissioners will award liquid fuels and fee for local use if you so choose this year.
Great, so we'll send an email, send some letters out, maybe meet with them at some of their association meetings and our regional planning meetings, right?
That's correct. We've actually been in touch with a lot of the municipalities to make sure that they know that this is coming up and ask them to get their projects considered and start to gather the information that they need, the estimates, the projects that they want to do, encouraging them to do bridges, roads, those kinds of things that need to be done that impact their municipalities intimately.
Very good. Any questions from either commissioner? No? All right, take a motion.
I'll move to approve the letters of solicitation to municipalities.
We have a motion and a second to approve the letters of solicitation to municipalities. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And then I think you're also doing the mid-year update.
I am. The last one is the fee for local use. It was passed in, by ordinance 2 of 2017 and by resolution of 3 of 2022. It requires the fee for local use to do a mid-year report and then a final year report. And I do believe there's you should have a copy of it. Yeah, if you don't mind, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, that's
I was gonna say, they
okay.
have a
That's
copy
okay.
here.
This is actually the report that'll be put on the county's website for review because it's part of the ordinance. It's required to be on there. What you see at the top is just the revenues that have been collected since the inception of the fee for local use, and then the allocation of the expenditures by road, by bridges, for each of the years in which the grant, the fee for local use has been in use. And then at the very bottom, you're going to see the projects that the commissioners have actually allocated for each municipality that has requested. You'll see some that say paid and completed. Those projects have been actually completed. There are other ones that don't have a status on. We're still waiting for those projects to be submitted for payment, completed and submitted for payment by the municipalities. We are carrying those as allocations, essentially because they've been awarded, they just have not been received by the municipalities yet because they've not finished the project.
Broad variety of municipalities on that list, though.
Excuse me?
Broad variety of municipalities on the list.
There
probably
are-
well over half the county.
Exactly. And there's a multitude of different types of projects as well. You'll see drainage, you'll see resurfacing, you'll see road and bridge construction. Obviously, our bridges are part of that. The bridge bundles are part of this monies as well. We see guide rails, milling. There's just a multitude of activity that has been expended using the fee for local use. And you also see in the middle section, it says total unallocated funds. That tells you, as of today, what would be available for allocations for this year.
Oh, okay, good.
That may flux a little bit depending on what we have coming in with these projects, but that's where we're as of today.
And I do know our liquid fuels money is tending to decrease over the last several years. I think we're down to about 160 to 170,000 annually at this point.
Yeah, it's our last allocation we got in June was a little over $80,000. Yeah, it's definitely decreasing. So the amount that's available to the municipalities is obviously coming down, but we certainly encourage them to apply.
And the commissioners do have the opportunity, if the projects meet the requirements, to use the fee for local use money to supplement those liquid fuels dollars.
Yes, that's correct.
Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
I think it's good to see that we have $443,000 in the account now that can be allocated towards, as the municipalities respond to the letter that we're sending out with what their most significant needs are.
Right. And this report being on the website will give them an idea of what kind of projects they can submit for and that have been approved in prior years as well, too, so.
Quite a variety. Commissioner Dershowitz, any questions? No. All right. Good. Well, thanks for that, Coachy. Appreciate it. Thanks, Aaron, for getting that up there on the screen so the
Thank
folks
you.
at home and the press could see it. Now we'll move on. John's got some information on a liquid fuels application from Taylor Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. So Taylor Township has several roads that are experiencing severe shoulder erosion due to steep slopes, and that's posing hazard conditions for bicyclists, joggers, and motorists. There are also high-quality and exceptional value streams that are being impacted by the runoff, and the existing shoulders are proposed to be reinforced with larger stone that will protect the edge of the roadway and help mitigate the erosion and runoff. The roads chosen are throughout, they run throughout the township, and they are primarily on Mulholland and McMonigle roads. And the application is for $25,000. The overall project cost is $30,000, so Taylor is contributing $5,000 towards it. So the application before you for consideration is $25,000 for Mulholland and McMonigle Road erosion road projects.
Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion?
Sounds reasonable.
No, actually, I heartily support this because they are not one of the municipalities listed on this list, and it's good to see that we are expanding the reach.
We try to spread it around when we can. Great. All right, well, unless there's any other questions, I think we could take a motion.
I will move to approve the liquid fuels application for Taylor Township.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the liquid fuels application for Taylor Township, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I think we have a fairly standard consent agenda. Unless there's any questions, take a motion.
I will move to approve this week's consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second to approve this week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to authorities, boards, and commissions. Always appreciate our citizens who are willing to serve on those boards. We have 2 volunteers for our RSVP Advisory Council, Donald Albertson and Kenneth Johnson, who will both serve similar terms from August 22nd of this year until August 21st of 2025. Unless there's any questions, move forward with an approval.
I will move to approve the ABC appointments.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ABC appointments. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Well, move on to the check run with Commissioner Concepcion.
Okay. A check that I'd like to highlight this time is to the organization CenterSafe. They provide a safe haven for individuals in the community who have experienced domestic abuse. So it's an important organization that we help to support. I'd like to move to approve the check run dated August 18th, 2023.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the check run from August 18th do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Is there an administrator's report, John?
Just a brief update on what we thought were sinkholes out at the Sheriff's Department. What we discovered upon opening up the hole was that it was the site of the former correctional facility, and there was a lot of loose debris that was under the ground, so we have removed some of that loose debris and stabilized it. We put over 50 yards of flowable fill into the hole to stabilize the site and have backfilled it with gravel, and the county engineer is planning to do some survey shots this week to come up with a good paving solution now that the deficiencies have been corrected.
I believe the biggest hole was like 18 feet deep or something like that?
We had to go down 18 feet in one spot before we could find solid ground, yes. So there was quite a bit of loose material underneath.
All right. Thanks, John. We'll move on to our voters registration report. Commissioner Dershowitz.
All right, we have 99,703 registered voters in Center County this week. That's down 40 folks from last report. And the highlight reel indicates there are 41,931 Democratic registrations, 131 Green Party, 596 Libertarian, 13,405 no affiliation, and 40,564 Republican voters in Center County, which leads a total of 3,076 minor party registrations. So, starting at the beginning of the alphabet, as I did last week, today is the American Party. And the American Party has one registration in Center County. So I'd like to give a shout out to the American in our election system. Now, we also have a feature precinct, which is number 20, State College South 2. In the last election, there were 1,192 registrations, or voters, rather, total registered voters. There were 499 ballots cast, which led to a percentage turnout of 41.86%. They vote at the Assembly of God Church on the University Drive, and I'd like to thank those folks and the folks on our elections staff that make it all happen. So there you have it. That's my report for today.
All right, and another announcement, Center County government offices will be closed on Monday, September 4th, in observance of Labor Day. John, do we have any executive sessions to report or hold?
No executive sessions to report. However, there is a need to hold an executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
And our public meeting schedule on Thursday, the 24th, we'll have a combined Board of Commissioners and Salary Board meeting, and then we will quickly skedaddle for the Grange Fair Parade. Because I believe lineup starts at 10, so we'll miss the initial lineup, but we'll be there before the parade starts at 1. And then Tuesday, August 29th, is Board of Commissioners at 10 and work session at 11. And then Thursday, August 31st, at this point, we just have Finance Committee scheduled, but oftentimes we'll throw in a Board of Commissioners and Salary Board meeting as needed. Any questions from the press? No? All right. Unless there's anything else for the good of the order, take a motion to adjourn.
No, motion go into exec session.
Oh, executive session. Thanks, John.
I will move to enter executive session.
We have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We go into executive session here at 10:42.